Well, hello, everyone, and thank you for tuning in to Poets and Quants' online MBA panel, the Student MBA Experience. Today, we're joined by current students and alumni from three elite programs, Illinois Gies, UNC Kenan-Flagler, and IU Kelley. I'm your host, Christy Blyzeffer of Poets and Quants. Feel free to use the Q&A function to submit any questions you have for our panelists, and I'll do my best to get to those at the end of the session. So welcome to all three of you. If we could just take a minute for you to each introduce yourselves and be sure to tell us about where you went to school or are going to school, your current position and role, and a fun fact about yourself. And Anna Maria, we'll start with you.
Great. Thanks, Christy. And hello, everyone. I'm currently at the IU Kelley School of Business, Kelley Direct program. A little bit about myself. I started my career after completing my first master's degree, a master's in public health from Emory University. That degree definitely served its purpose in that it took me all across the world to Zambia, Sub-Saharan East Africa, where I worked and lived there for 3 years to execute a Johnson & Johnson HIV-1 efficacy vaccine clinical trial. I then moved back to New York, got involved with a Golden Seeds, which is an angel investment firm with a national footprint. And since then, and in addition to, I've been working in biotech at Regeneron Pharmaceuticals for over 3.5 years. And I'm excited to be graduating with my MBA in May from the Kelley School. And fun fact, although it's not my first, I am running an off-road marathon next weekend, so wish me luck.
Yeah, I wish you luck and congratulations. You're completing one marathon and starting another with your schooling. Very good. Thank you. Sarab.
Yes, thank you. I am Saurabh Shetty. I am representing the Gies School of Business, and this is my final stretch with the program as well. I am based out of San Francisco, California, currently on vacation in the Bahamas, and it's been an exciting journey for me. I did my engineering for undergrads, and following that, I joined a management consulting firm focused on sales and marketing for pharma biotech. And last couple of years, I moved to the industry to sort of get that cross-functional experience. So I'm leading the commercial effort with a company called Cytokinetics. It's a pre-commercial company in the Bay Area, and I'm looking forward to launching the second-in-class product for patients with rare heart disease called hypertrophic cardiomyopathy. So it's an exciting time for the company, and I'm also looking forward to wrapping up my MBA sometime in May, doing my grad walk in May.
Well, I am so honored to have you join us from the Bahamas. That is a very nice use of your time for us, for sure. Emily, please.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. It's so nice to connect with everyone. My name is Emily Fortner. I am coming to you live from North Carolina, which is appropriate because I am an alum of the Kenan-Flagler School of Business at UNC Chapel Hill. I actually am a double Tar Heel, as we like to say, got 2 degrees from UNC, go Heels. Not the tournament outcome that we wanted, but very proud Tar Heel. Went there for my undergrad degree, which was in journalism and PR, and then decided to return in 2019 to start my online MBA. At the time, I was actually based in San Francisco, so Sarab would have seen you if you were not in the Bahamas, maybe, and kind of did the big tech thing out in the Bay for a number of years. I am currently the head of content strategy globally at X, formerly known as Twitter. So that has been quite the interesting ride. I've been at the company about 4.5 years now. So that has been quite the challenge, but most of my career history has been in tech, in startups, really focused heavily on content strategy, communications, and program management. So really excited to be here to talk about my online MBA experience, which I wrapped up in 2020. Yeah, right in the middle of the pandemic. So yeah, excited to be here.
Thank you very much. Thanks for all three of you and for taking the time. Saurabh, we'll start with you. Talk us a little bit about kind of the process for deciding to pursue an online MBA. Were there other MBA options or degrees that you considered, and what were the key factors that led you to Gies?
Definitely. So I always wanted to do an MBA. I was with management consulting, as I was sharing, and a lot of my peers actually did their part-time business school while they were working full-time in consulting, which is a pretty demanding job. I was ultra focused on my career and sort of did not really pay as much attention to the structured learning that the MBA offers. But finally, I came across this program in the last couple of years with Gies. The flexibility of the program was the first thing that I sort of, it was one of my key decision points. But then in addition to the flexibility, I also was reviewing some of the student experiences, a lot of tenure under their belt, experience under their belt, which has sort of helped me learn from the diverse perspectives that folks bring to the table across the different industries, not just within the US, but globally as well. And then finally, I think it was also sort of the cost element, which was very much affordable with the program. So I think I wanted to get the maximum ROI with the investment I was making, especially after spending 15 years working. I wanted to ensure that the program can help me elevate my leadership within the organization and also help me sort of get a well-rounded business understanding. So yeah, I think I ended up choosing Gies. I did evaluate other programs. Some of them were hybrid. Some of them were sort of completely remote. I think Gies provided a very happy balance where we get to visit in person for events like iConverge, but also like have immersion trips, which I'll talk about in a few moments.
Great, thank you. Emily.
Yeah, absolutely. The question was how we decided to go to our institution or online generally?
Yeah, kind of both. Tell us why an online MBA and why Kenan-Flagler.
Perfect. Yeah, so I at the time was living in the Bay Area and was traveling a lot for work. So when I started to look at options, obviously Berkeley had a great program right across the Bay, and that was my original plan. Just because I was not aware of online options, and back in 2019, even in the last 5 years, a lot has changed. I think there's a lot more folks choosing the online option just because of the flexibility that it gives to working professionals. So once I became aware that my alma mater had an online program, I again kind of like Saurabh evaluated a couple different options, but just found the offering at Kenan-Flagler to be a really strong mix of in-person and online. It worked with my work travel schedule, which was all over the world in crazy time zones. So the feasibility of going to a physical campus, even 120 minutes away, was not going to be workable with my work schedule. So the online option was great. And then with Kenan-Flagler, I was really looking for somewhere to build community and an alumni network, and to kind of go deeper in that like university relationship that I had already found. So it really was just the perfect fit for me, both online and at UNC. But there are so many benefits to online that I was not aware of. I just thought it was a convenience factor, but just in terms of how it fits into your life, and it kind of emulates, our more remote work world more accurately than a campus environment. So I'm just a huge proponent of it.
Very good. Thank you. Emily, what about your UMBA journey and to IU Kelley?
Sure, Christy, thanks. And honestly, all of the above. Everything that Emily and Saurabh just mentioned were critical factors in my decision as well. I think a little bit of my personal journey is after completing my MPH from Emory, I realized that I naturally gravitated towards roles that required business acumen and strategic decision making. So that was really the motivation for pursuing my MBA. As far as which program I chose, I saw the Kelley Direct program as a unique opportunity to enhance my career prospects, deepen my understanding of global business trends, and also really expanding my network of other business leaders while allowing me to stay in the workforce. So very similar to Saurabh and Emily, it was incredibly important for me to be able to work full-time during this time. And I did believe that, and still do very firmly believe, that the program equips me with the tools and the insights to navigate complex business challenges in my day-to-day life. One last thing that I will add, which I think is critically important for folks to consider, something that was very important in my decision-making for choosing the Kelley Direct program, it was that the program is not administered by a MOOC. So I think many of us are familiar with that term, but massive open online course administrators, meaning nothing at Kelley is outsourced. All of the professors are highly reputable, competitive, and employees of Indiana University. And so I was not interested in a program where I could complete assignments or attend classes asynchronously. So while I wanted to have the flexibility, I also wanted that engagement. And similar to Saurabh, I'd love to be able to talk about the immersion experiences at Kelley as well that I've had a chance to participate in, which are critical aspects of meaningful engagement with my cohort and my teachers.
Yeah, well, let's get into that a little bit. Emily, starting with you, let's just dive deeper into that learning experience, the flexibility, the emphasis on group work, any immersion opportunities that you had as a student?
Yeah, absolutely. So Kenan-Flagler's program is structured it sounds like similarly to what you were speaking about in terms of those synchronous classes. My favorite thing was we had a saying, it was no back row, because you're all online, you're all present, just like we are on this call today. You have to be present and engaged in the class, and the class sizes were quite small. You could kind of determine how many times a week. I think most folks went to class twice a week and took 2 credits at a time, just to or 2 different courses at a time to kind of balance that. I personally chose to speed it up, so I completed my program in 18 months instead of kind of the normal 24-month or 2-year program. And that was just, I had some extra bandwidth at work one quarter, and I said, okay, I'm gonna sign up. And I did multiple kind of courses on top of the kind of standard plan to kind of get out of there early. But we had synchronous courses several times a week, and those were supplemented with those offline experiences, which kind of took 2 forms for me. I also have a bit of a different scenario since the COVID pandemic was kind of at its peak while I was in the program. So unfortunately, some of those opportunities towards the end of the program got curtailed for me as travel was shut down to some of the international locations that Kenan-Flagler had offerings planned for. But luckily, I got some in-person experiences in before that happened. We did have an in-person orientation on campus in Chapel Hill, which was great as a Tar Heel to fly back from California, visit campus. And I think for folks that were not familiar with the university, it really gave them a grounding in Carolina and kind of the history and the ethos of the university. We also had weekend course options on campus that I took advantage of 2 separate times that were for course credit. But the kind of standout in-person component of my MBA experience was an immersion in Finland and Estonia that was focused on tech innovation and kind of the digital landscape in those countries. They are really quite ahead of the game, even at the government and national level in terms of their technology and how it's really integrated into their daily lives. So that was a week-long immersion where we traveled around Finland and Estonia to get to visit different companies, visit with speakers. We had some cultural opportunities for course credit. So all of this was just a really wonderful in-person experience, gave me a chance to bond directly with some people who I had known virtually in those synchronous classes online. And it was really great. So they offered a number of programs kind of based on different geographies, different industries like healthcare and finance and things that you were interested in. So obviously the tech and innovation one was appealing to me, and I had never been to Finland. I don't know if I would have prioritized it otherwise, but overall those in-person experiences were kind of the standout moment, and then supplemented with those synchronous courses. But you get to schedule when you go to class, you can schedule your work life around it. And of course it is a lot, but I think between kind of those two pieces, those 18 months went by really quickly, and it was a great balance for me, where I got to meet a lot of folks, build a lot of real connections, both in person and virtual. And yeah, for me, it was just a really positive experience.
Yeah, thank you. Anna Maria, tell us a little more about the learning experience at Kelley.
Sure. So I think for me, I would say, imagine you are doing the full-time MBA program at the Bloomington campus. You have access to academic advising, real time. You have access to career services. You have access to professor office hours. And the only difference is that with the Kelley Direct program, you have the flexibility to log into all of these interactive experiences online for the majority of the program. So all of my colleagues have full-time jobs and families and extracurricular. So I can't emphasize that enough. And there's an expectation for attendance, and there's certainly an expectation for group work and, huddling as needed to get your assignments done. The program really does allow you to pursue it all. And there are, much like Emily was mentioning, there are on-campus experiences. So I would like to be able to share a little bit about Kelley and what makes it so special and unique. So we do have the first-time orientation on campus. We also have Kelley on Location, where you can go to any city, well, not necessarily any city, but the city that Kelley chooses for that particular Kelley on Location. Mine happened to be Milwaukee, where we did a local business consulting case. And then there's also Kelley on Innovation, which is really training students to develop a prototype for a potential business idea. So really focusing on the entrepreneurial aspect of your MBA. And then there's the international immersion. So I personally took advantage of the Ireland immersion last summer, where we got to study high-performing organizations, and we visited the likes of Meta and Google and EY and a bunch of other very cool enterprises. And then just recently, as of last week on Tuesday, I came back from Singapore, where we looked at the finance industry across various different sectors of the economy there. So very, very rewarding experiences. And there's obviously a lot of capstone projects that go along with those. It's not just, taking an excursion somewhere. It's a very meaningful educational engagement with your peers, and also in those cultures that you find yourself in.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Sarab, how about at Gies?
Yeah, definitely. Like, I think a lot of points covered by both my fellow facilitators. I think, like, overall, if I think about Gies, the key things that I loved about the program are, one, the immersion experience. So I went to Mexico City beginning of this year, where we got to visit the industries out there, and Mexico being one of the top import-export partners for the US. I think it was interesting to learn about the kind of industries, the fintech industry out there. So a Square equivalent that we worked with provided tangible recommendations to the client out there. I also have enrolled in a capstone with the Carl School Medical School and the Granger Engineering School, which is sort of bringing together business with engineering and medical. And sort of we are going to go from idea to a prototype. It's going to be like a year plus of capstone, which will help us sort of get that entrepreneurship experience. In addition to that, there is definitely like focus area capstones, specialization capstones as we go along the curriculum. But the big part of this process that I loved about is the networking, where we have been able to go in person on campus. We have an event called iConverge every year. And there is like alums as well as current students will come together. There is a good mix of faculty-led sessions, but there is also student-led sessions. There is networking opportunities, social community building activities, which have been a highlight of, and that's a event that each of us looks forward to every year. And in addition, like I'm in the Bay Area, and we have a huge community out here in the Bay Area. So like I've been fortunate to be an integral part of building out that community. We have a community of like 150 plus people, and we have like a monthly cadence where we meet, interact with each other, and sort of share perspectives around, be it investing, be it like job search, be it like in general like hiking and so on, social activities. So I think it's been a great way to expand my network beyond pharma, which I've been focused on for many, many years. And then on the coursework front, having an engineering background, I was always inclined towards the quant courses more. But I think having worked with the academic advisors, having a fair combination of qual and quant courses has definitely helped me manage my workload. I've been doing like 2 courses every term. I think similar to I think I've been trying to work towards like a 18 to 20 month, trying to finish my program within that duration. And yeah, I think it's been a really fun journey so far, and looking forward to more as I wrap the final stretch.
Great, thank you. Anna Maria, back to you. I think that a lot of people are looking at an online MBA with a specific kind of career goal or path in mind. But can you talk a little bit about what the MBA experience has done for you, kind of in those softer leadership, in the more intangible skills that people may not think about right away?
Yeah, the MBA experience for me was well beyond what you just mentioned, Christy. It was not just about acquiring technical skills for a specific role or a specific industry. It was truly a mission of personal and leadership development that I've set for myself. And tangibly, I learned, things like obviously financial analysis, strategic planning. I got to hone in on more of my project management skills, which have been, very directly applicable to my roles involving some of my day-to-day, budgeting, decision-making, leading cross-functional teams. One of the things that I would say is the intangible skills, which I think is your original question, are perhaps even more valuable personally. In particular, when it comes to communication and negotiation and teamwork. And the Kelley Direct program offering so many enriching opportunities for collaborative group projects and presentations. All of those experiences have really helped me build rapport with my, stakeholders in my day-to-day activities and endeavors, helped me kind of think through how to creatively problem solve on a day-to-day and handle conflicts effectively. In terms of just, again, to round it out with, I guess, some personal ROI, the MBA from Kelley provided me with a really broad lens and perspective on just business and leadership. The fact that we do have these international perspectives or immersions offers such a unique perspective for how other parts of the world do business. And we live in a global economy. And so it made a lot of sense for me. And it also importantly allowed me to, I would say, step back and reflect on my values and my strengths and my areas of growth through all of those experiences, and really helped me create a more clear vision of the type of leader that I aspire to be in my current organization and future organizations and endeavors that I will serve.
Yeah, very good. Thank you. Saurabh, same question.
Yes. So the program definitely helped me elevate my understanding of the business through courses around finance, marketing, accounting. Traditionally, I've not been exposed to all of those areas through my professional experience. So it was a great structured learning for some of these important areas of business. And then secondly, I think it also helped me sort of get deeper into disruptive technologies and predictive analytics, which are tangential to the kind of work that I do. On the other hand, I also feel confident sort of building and leading high functioning teams because a lot of coursework revolves around bringing together individuals sort of from different backgrounds, experiences, and tapping into their diverse perspectives in order to deliver what we call a cohesive assignment at the end of the course or during the course. I think the other aspect that the MBA program has also opened up is the networking aspect. I've been, as I was sharing, I've focused on pharma, so my network has been limited to the pharmaceutical industry, but I think this has definitely opened it up beyond the US. I have friends in Myanmar, Dubai, and I also have sort of friends across the different industries, across different experience levels. And then finally, I think like through the program, if I think about the ROI, I have definitely sort of understood a lot of different ways around diversification of investments, or even like sort of building communities, as I was sharing in the Bay Area. But even like globally, we have had great ideas around building communities, let's say investing, or be it building communities around management consulting, building communities around like general interest groups. I think that has been a phenomenal experience for me personally.
Yeah, very good. Thank you. Emily, tell us a little bit about how your experience kind of led to some of those, more intangible leadership, teamwork skills.
Yeah, absolutely. I would definitely agree. Like a lot of folks do come into an MBA program aiming to switch industries or target a specific type of role or get into consulting. And for me, I really just wanted to challenge myself, and I was kind of looking around and above me professionally, and thinking, reflecting on what would help me get to the next level and take on kind of further scope and responsibilities. And for a long time, I've been saying I'm more of a words person than a numbers person. I'm never someone who really liked math or working with data. And I would say my biggest personal ROI is now I can say I'm not a math person because it's not my favorite, not because I can't do it. I think for me, the ultimate ROI of completing my MBA was confidence. And that comes from the combination of the experiences that I got throughout the program, as well as, the hard knowledge and how to, do financial accounting and handle a balance sheet. Those things together really just made me a more confident professional, and helped me to kind of develop my executive presence. And it has really been such a catalyst for career growth for me, which has been great. I would say some of the ways that the program kind of helped me get that ROI, group projects and working with folks kind of outside my industry. It was not something that I had really thought about until, later in the program, and had done a few kind of projects and been through a good bit of coursework. But different people and across different industries and role types really have different ways of getting things done. And when you're at a company for a while, or even in the same industry like tech for a long time, you kind of become used to doing things, a certain way. And the MBA experience kind of throws you together with a lot of other really smart and talented folks who might get things done and work completely different than you, in terms of project management, in terms of communication styles. So it was such a challenge to me that I really ended up taking a lot away from, just to be exposed to kind of those other ways of thinking and planning and delivering work with other folks. I think those projects and those experiences are really what kind of pulled those soft skills out of me, gave me a safe place to kind of operate differently and learn how others operate, and kind of level up in terms of those kind of soft, intangible skills, in addition to kind of all the really good knowledge.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Saurabh, I'm going to ask you a hard question. If to to really, if you had to only pick one, what is like the kind of hallmark or, you know, the experience that you're going to remember the most or had the most impact? There's probably a lot, but like, what's the hallmark there?
Yeah, so I think for me, it was, I definitely wanted to, I had not set this as a goal getting into the program, but I think getting invited to the Beta Gamma Sigma Honor Society and delivering sort of tangible recommendations for the fintech startup as a part of the Mexico City immersion would be the hallmark moment of my experience with the program. So really proud about that accomplishment. And yeah, definitely something that I can like even add to my resume or even like sort of add to my professional experience.
Yeah, congratulations on that. Emily,
Thank you.
what's your hallmark?
I think for me, it is just, it's been about, this sounds maybe getting ahead of where the folks on the call are a little bit, but for me, it's just the connection and the benefits that I continue to reap post-program that have really made me realize how valuable of an experience it really was for me. I think while you're in it, you're so busy, you're juggling a lot, you're, you know, learning things across all kinds of different areas, you're having these in-person experiences, you're making new friends, you're networking, you're interacting with great professors. So there's just so much crammed into these programs in just that short period of time. But what has really stuck with me is just how engaged I have remained with Kenan-Flagler, with the friends and colleagues from my cohort in the program. We still get together in person. I go to, you know, on-campus events when I can. And it's something that has really, you know, changed my life besides having an additional degree. I've got all of these wonderful people and connections and all of this great knowledge and network now that I would not have had. And the fact that I'm, you know, a few years out now and am only kind of getting more involved in still doing things like this and just have that drive to kind of, you know, spread the word about, you know, Online MBA and Kenan-Flagler and talk to prospective students and mentor some other folks. It's been just really, really rewarding.
Yeah, absolutely. And Maria, sorry.
No worries. In that same vein of just relationship building and connectivity. So my first time in Bloomington was in July 2022 for the on-campus orientation. And during that time, I was recognized as the, Sarab and Emily, you guys probably had this too, the HOVA app champion for the most engagement with my peers on and off the app. And being Kelley Direct, they are so terrific at just recognizing and encouraging, you know, incentivizing rather engagement. And so they actually recognized me with a gift and a personal shout out at the closing ceremony, which was a deeply meaningful experience for me. Not just personally, but just to know that I had been able to have such an impact on the experience of my colleagues and my professors during that very, very exciting week was just incredibly rewarding. And to be recognized for it was just the icing on the cake.
Yeah, Anna Maria, that's interesting. Can you maybe give some advice for some people that are maybe worried about, you know, the online MBA being a little isolating? How do you kind of make sure you're making those connections and reaching out?
Oh, such a great question. I think you have to be really intentional with it, Christy. I think you have to maybe at first try a little extra hard, knowing that you are doing a primarily hybrid or online MBA. I tell this to my administrators all the time. I purposely choose not to talk about Kelley as an online program. It is so much more than an online program. First of all, it's hybrid. You can technically have at least 5 or 6 engagements in person with the program, which is significant for people who are working full time and for various lengths of time during those 5 to 6 times that you come together. And so for me, I think it's just being really intentional and just having a keen curiosity as to who are the people in your cohort. Everybody has something to teach and you have something to learn from everyone. So just stepping into this next phase in your life when you're considering an MBA with a sense of deep and sincere curiosity just forms connections organically. So just
Yeah.
kind of putting yourself in that frame of mind is my biggest advice to folks who are starting an MBA when they're very, very busy, especially.
Yeah, great answer. Emily, so this next question kind of links directly with one that we just got from one of our viewers. What is the biggest piece of advice to someone considering an online MBA? Put another way, you know, if you were looking right now for an online MBA program, what would you be doing in this moment?
Yeah, that is a great question. I think connecting with current and prospective and former students, not prospective students, you are a prospective student, but current and former students to really get these like firsthand accounts. For the schools that I was interested in, they hosted kind of meet and greet sessions, those kinds of things with actual students versus just, you know, the actual staff of the program. And that for me was really, really important to try to hear directly from, okay, how did you balance? What are these people like? What was their firsthand experience? That was something that was really important to me to kind of gather what it would really be like kind of past all of the, you know, shiny marketing materials and the course catalog and, you know, thinking about having that degree on your wall eventually. So I would really try to connect and network with folks who have participated in the programs that you're considering. And that's something that I do really passionately one-on-one for Kenan-Flagler when there are folks who are not sure if online or in person or Kenan-Flagler or a different program are right for them. I love speaking to people about, you know, is this for you? And everyone's different. There might be components of different programs that really appeal to you. Maybe in person is not as much of a focus, or maybe networking is huge for you. And therefore you want to get more face time. So I would just really get clear with yourself on what you're hoping to get out of the program, and then try to find programs that match those criteria, and then hear firsthand as much as you possibly can. But overall, just be confident in your choice. I think I second guessed a lot if online would have been the right choice or enough for me. Would I miss out by not going in person? And I truly, I have lots of friends who did the in-person route, and I don't feel like anything was missing from my experience. If anything, I think mine had such a broad range of different experiences that I could kind of add into my MBA journey. From being an online student, I actually think it kind of broadens your horizons instead of limits them. So that would be my advice.
Yeah, Saurabh.
Yeah, so my advice would be like 4 key things, right? Learn, network, apply, and repeat. And I think like that sort of is the foundation. If you are going into an MBA program, you want to sort of keep your mind open, take in new learnings from your professors, from your peers, their perspectives, the research that goes into all the case studies that are taught as a part of the program. Networking is definitely an integral part of why you are doing an MBA, because you want to expand your network. Maybe you don't benefit from it in the short term, but definitely seen a lot of value medium long term. I think I also believe in the power of the ambassadors that the program offers. I'm myself an ambassador. I have one-on-one conversations with individuals who are on the fence, trying to make a decision whether to enroll in the program, apply for a program. I think getting benefited from that provision that the universities offer would definitely help get some of the internal workings of the program, be it the coursework, the course load, the live versus asynchronous learning experience, the office hours offered, the immersion opportunities offered. So I think, yeah, all of those are great opportunities. And then I think like a lot of our Gies does a lot of in-person meetups as well in the different parts of the country. They even tried to do some globally at Singapore and some other locations. So I think if there is students who are like outside the US as well, they can definitely participate in the program, because we have like multiple live session options which can accommodate different time zones. So yeah, I think a lot of flexibility baked into it, along with a lot of networking. So I don't see myself missing out on anything that I would have had I enrolled in an in-person program.
Yeah, Anna Maria, do you have any advice for the school seekers out there considering an UMBA or what they should be doing right now in their search?
Great question. First, shameless plug. I'm also an ambassador for IU Kelley. So for anyone interested in Kelley, I love talking about Kelley and my experience further. Listen, I think the best piece of advice that I can give for MBA seekers right now, prospective students, is put one foot in front of the other. And what I mean by that is, please don't think you have to start and finish your search or your applications all at once. That was one of the most overwhelming barriers that I had to get through during my journey when I was first starting out. So break it down into manageable components. And also, I know this sounds a little cheesy, but just make sure to also like celebrate your small wins along the way. And this could look like, first, you actually start doing your research. If you're here on this call, you're actively doing your research into schools that are of interest to you. Then you maybe start reflecting, like Emily was saying, like, why do you want the MBA? Right? Then maybe you start talking to people who have the MBA, maybe your colleagues at work or your friends in the area. Then you get on a call with admissions and you learn about the offerings and the flexibility and the things that are important to you. And then, one of the biggest, again, tasks perhaps in the application process that took the longest for me, and for good reason, was my personal statement, which I started reflecting on, I think, about 6 or 7 months before I actually drafted it. Not finalized it, drafted it. But little by little, in incremental steps, I think, is my biggest advice. And just like Emily and Sarah mentioned, take advantage of the people that are in your network or those that are not in your network, but are at schools that you're interested in. You'd be surprised as to the pride that people have, and I think it's evident on this call, associated with their schools or their alma maters. And so I'm, confident that people would be willing to speak more about their experiences.
Absolutely. That is always great advice. Well, let's finish out with one last question from our audience. Kind of a fun one, just what was the most surprising for your experience? And Sarab, we'll start with you.
Yeah, so I think for me, the most surprising was my sort of ability to write so many
Good.
so many words. Like now, I think Anna Marie was sharing, she spent a lot of time on her SOP. So did I. Like I think writing naturally comes naturally to me. Writing is sort of an area that I'm working on actively, and I think like the program put me outside my comfort zone to the extent that I sort of overcome that fear, overcome that block, and now I can like finish like write-ups pretty efficiently as I get closer to the end of the program. So, and I see that as a very valuable skill now with the advent of generative AI. Things get different, but still, I think like written communication, I see as a very valuable asset that some of these MBA programs help you build. So that was sort of at least one key
Yeah, that's a
learning.
good one. Yeah. Emily. Oh, let's go to Anna Maria. Your biggest surprise.
Sure. I think just given the global footprint of Kelley, I think, and this was, by the way, a very, very good surprise. I think just the diversity in perspectives and of backgrounds of my colleagues that you don't actually really appreciate until you start cranking out literally hundreds of cases throughout your degree and have to, storm and debate and ultimately come to a conclusion. But I think just the diverse perspectives was incredibly surprising and enriching for me as a young budding professional. And again, I think Emily hit on this a little bit earlier, but not just diversity in backgrounds and perspectives, but diversity of people from different industries and the way that they problem solve, and things that you can kind of take away and apply pretty much immediately.
Yeah, absolutely. Emily, do you have a surprise?
I do have a surprise. I would say it's really similar to what Anna Maria just said, but it was kind of that the experiences, they ended up mimicking work experiences that I like hadn't had yet. So when I'm going to a new professional interaction or things like that, it's very surprising to me how often I think back to, oh, I remember this group project when we worked on this, or this case when this was the problem that we were solving, and this is how we approached it. You think schoolwork and group work, and sometimes at the time you're just like, oh, am I ever going to use this again? And just the number of times where I think of MBA experiences, in addition to kind of, past professional experiences, when I'm kind of navigating my professional life these days, it has just proven to be useful in ways far outside of, what you learn in a textbook. And that was just something I wasn't expecting.
Yeah, that's great insight. Thank you so much. And, thanks to all of you for your time. And, there's just no better way to learn about the school, as you said, than talking to someone who's been through it. And thanks to all our viewers. We have a lot more panels that we recorded the last couple of days with other great schools. So check those out on our YouTube page. You'll find a lot more articles, videos, and other material on online MBAs at poetsandquants.com. And, until next time, thank you for listening.